We just went live here in the studio. Bruce, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Good. Who do you have on the show today?
Dustin Clark, assistant basketball coach, great guy, big Maryland fan.
Yeah, of all the sports, not just basketball. So we're going to talk to him about that. We're going to go over what's going on with the football team and the roster and the big JMU games coming up. I can't wait for the season to get started.
Here we go. We welcome in everybody tonight. We are live on TerpTalk.com on YouTube, and we welcome everybody in for an anticipatory week of Maryland sports beginning. Women's soccer off to a little bit of a slow start. And on the phone right now, a good friend of the program, assistant basketball coach, and also a tremendous Maryland fan. See him at every football game. I see him at a lot of soccer games. And then, of course, a guy everybody loves, and that's Dustin Clark. Dustin, welcome in tonight. Hey, man, you are a big Maryland fan. Outside, of course, you're the basketball assistant coach, but I see you at every football game almost. I don't think you miss one home game, and I see a lot of soccer games, too. Dustin, has it been an active off season for you guys? I say that in jest, all right. you know, Dustin, I'm not going into the transfers and all that stuff, but Maryland was not the only school hit by a lot of transfers. Apparently, at one point there was over 600 transfers out there. What's going to be the end of this, Dustin? I mean,
I'm telling you, I've said, the folks that are going to be successful in this business, moving forward, are going to be, not the guys that don't have change, right, on their roster. It's going to be the guys that can adapt to it. And you used to, plan your recruiting. You used to try to balance your classes and, do depth charts 3 and 4 years out. And just with the way that, the basketball culture is changing, you can't do that anymore. And you see it at every level. I mean, you see it in AAU basketball. Rosters change a lot. You see it in high school basketball more than you've ever seen it, and you see it at our level. So, no, you're right. It's happening everywhere.
Dustin, talk about the Maryland Way. That came out the past week, the Maryland Guarantee Way, how that's going to help you in recruiting, because it's got to be a big plus.
Yeah, big time. It's funny. Actually, one of the guys and families that we're recruiting right now, that was a question that came up on their visit, and it's a conversation that's been happening nationally, with multi-year scholarships and whatnot. And so it's huge. We told the family that that we're recruiting, said, hey, you take pride in the fact that you were a part of this thing, because we took your concerns and passed them on to our athletic director, Kevin Anderson, and Maryland acted on it. And no, it's huge. It's huge because, as you know, technically, scholarship agreements are 1 year and year to year, and I think families and young kids, student athletes, they want that security, if you will. They know that they want to know that if they're putting their trust in you, that they're that they're going to have plenty of security to make sure that their son or daughter can get an education at the school they choose.
How great is it that Maryland has extended this across all student athletes, not just basketball, football.
Yeah, it's tremendous. And, the thing that a lot of people really don't, want to talk about, I guess, or aren't talking about is, what happens if for whatever crazy circumstance, there's a family issue or, maybe the student athlete is fortunate enough to have an opportunity to play professionally, for a lot of money, and they haven't quite finished their degree. This isn't just a, hey, we're going to pay for your school for 4 years while you're here or 5 years. It's an open-ended deal, and they can come back and get their degree. And it's funny, there's several former basketball players that are working on their degree right now, and I don't want to name any names, but it's something that Coach Surgeon, that's been a huge passion of his even before this was announced. Was contacting those guys and saying, hey guys, you did so many great things on the court here, but you need to have that piece of paper hanging on your wall, and so you can, a lot of guys are finishing playing now, and they're trying to get into the career field job force, and they need that degree, and so Coach has been really active in getting our guys back, and I think this is the Maryland way. We'll just continue to perpetuate that.
Again, we're talking to Dustin Clark, assistant coach to Mark Turgeon. So you're going into kind of like your second year. How much did you learn last year? Because it was a ton of big games, a ton of big situations, and you were kind of thrust into it.
Yeah. No, being with Coach Turgeon going on 8 years now, I know exactly the kind of kid that he wants to recruit. I know offensively and defensively how he wants to play. I know, set in on hundreds of scouting reports. I know how he wants, a team prepared. So just the familiarity with Coach Turgeon and his system really helped me with the transition last year from going from director of operations into the assistant coaching role. But certainly there was, some situations last year that I was in for the first time, and it was good. It was, I feel like the transition was smooth, and then I had a full summer now to recruit. We were able to do some things in spring recruiting, late signing that were really good. We felt great about, and adding Michael Tchaikovsky, the kid from Slovakia, adding Rashad Pack, the fifth-year guy from NCA&T, and then, like I said, then we go into a full July recruiting cycle, and now, coming up on a 1-year anniversary, I guess, of the move that I made. So, no, like I said, I thought the transition was really smooth, Bruce, and enjoyed my time on the bench.
Let's talk about two guys who really has been so much written about and so much is hopefully expected from them, but we hate to put that much pressure on freshmen or whatever, but they're going to feel it, and that, of course, is Romello Trimble and Michael Tchaikovsky.
Sure, yeah, those guys, in addition to Dion and Jared Nickens, have had really, really good summers. Just kind of going down the list, you're talking about Mello. Mello was, part of, WCAC there over at O'Connell. Was coached by, had a great high school coach and Joe Wooten, and, has been through a lot of high-level battles, and you saw that this summer. He came in, mature kid, ready to work, loves Maryland. Mello loves Maryland, and you can see that through and through, just, the way he approaches things. He walks around here, he's a happy kid, had a great summer, took some body fat off, improved his explosiveness, his speed a little bit, and had a good summer. The second kid you mentioned was Checo. We call him Checo, Michael Tchaikovsky. Just a sweetheart of a kid, really driven, focused. Came in here. His English speaking was good when he got here, and it's even better now. So he won't have, he doesn't have much of a language barrier. He's used to being away from home. He's been away from home at school for about 3 years. But he put on some good weight. Put on about 12 pounds since he's been here. And we expect him to contribute. Dion had a great summer. He went over to Germany and Belgium recently on this kind of an all-star tour and was the team's leading scorer. Like I said, he lost a little bit of weight and had a really good summer. And then Jared Nickens, from Jersey Jared's a high IQ guy. He put on 9 pounds of good weight, and just the summer, Bruce, is so much about just learning how to work and learning how to manage your time, and learning how to be a full-time student and a full-time basketball player. And like I said, Jared's an older kid. He's a little bit more mature, and he handled it great. So you don't want to put too much pressure on the freshmen, but the reality is, Bruce, they know that they're going to be counted on. And the one thing is, in recruiting anymore, that's a big part of recruiting. Guys, want to know that they're needed early, and they want to be able to contribute early. And our guys are going to have that opportunity, and they'll be ready. We're going to have a great fall.
Hey, Dustin, this is Wayne Viner. We've seen a lot of pictures.
What's up, man?
Hey, nice to have you on the air today.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Have you seen the new scoreboard over Xfinity Center, and talk a little bit about what you've done with the basketball court and how great it all looks over there?
And the only thing I've seen are the 4 walls of my office. As I've been burning up the phone lines recruiting, and we actually got an official visit coming up this weekend. So I haven't been down to the floor. I know they repainted the floor. They're not repainted it, but refinished it like they do every year. I understand they put down the Big Ten logos, which obviously are new. But I haven't been. I've been in my office. I haven't been down to the court. They got the court shut off for those things that they're working on.
I read a lot about Melo being one of the problems we had last year was that finisher at the end, the last basket. And Melo supposedly has a little bit of history of being a good guy with the last second shot. And true, false?
Yeah. I got to watch him quite a bit last year during his high school year, and I'm telling you what, they counted on him to take the last shot, the first shot, and a lot of shots in between. He had to do a lot, and he was certainly capable of doing it. But yeah, I don't know, Bruce, to be honest with you, how many last second shots he's made or buzzer beaters he's hit or anything like that. But no, he's certainly got a penchant for putting the ball in the hole.
Early in the season, we had 2 cracks to defeat the eventual national champion, and it shows you how close you can be. A couple baskets here and there makes a difference, and I think that maybe he's the type guy. Certainly, Dez is the type guy, and Jake Lehman's another year older. Talk about Dez and Jake Lehman and DeMonte Dodd and some of the other guys coming back.
They had a great summer. I had a great conversation with Jake this morning. He just got back, and Jake was having a phenomenal summer until he broke his hand playing pickup one day, and that kind of slowed him down a little bit. But Jake gets it. Jake's upperclassman now, and he knows. He knows how impressionable young guys are, because he once was a young guy, and so he knows his responsibility in terms of what he's got to do for us offensively, defensively, but he also knows the responsibility that him and the other upperclassmen have in terms of molding these young guys and showing them the way, showing them the right way. But yeah, Jake had a good summer. Dez had a great summer. Dez had some unbelievable opportunities. He participated in the Kevin Durant Skills Academy here in D.C. and was said to be one of the better college players there. That earned him an invite to the LeBron James Skills Academy out in Vegas. He also took part in the Chris Paul camp in August. And Dez is commitment. He's working hard on his game, and like I said, he understands also the responsibility he has in terms of not just producing on the court, but being a great locker room voice. John Graham, another one of our seniors, he's just been working his tail off, just absolutely working really hard. DeMonte is a guy that his role is going to totally change from last year, and embracing that, just working to get better. There's not many physically gifted guys like him, just in terms of the ability to run, and his length and his size, and what he can do, especially on the defensive end of the court. But No, it's like I said, it's been a really good summer, and we're just understand this. We only had about 18 practices, okay, and they're very short. So I think the old saying, Bruce, is that players are made in the off season. Teams are made during the season, and so a big emphasis of ours this summer has been for our guys to work on their games individually, and we've got development plans for them, and things that we're working on with them to improve and whatnot. But I think that individually, I think we've had a great summer. It's time for the fall to get here so we can get on the practice floor. We're Coach hadn't been this excited for practice to start maybe since I've been working for him.
Now, whose idea was it to add a road game in Oklahoma State? I mean, why didn't you just go to New Mexico or something?
Yeah, a little bit of there's a little bit of familiarity there, for me and for Coach, being in the Big 12 all those years, and I guess the Big 8, Coach played there in the Big 8. But ultimately, I just think that we felt, that we needed, a road test. We're going to walk into East Lansing, Michigan, I think on December the 30th, and our guys need to know what it's like to go play on the road. And that certainly was a late addition to the schedule. Scheduling is a very inexact science, and it changes all the time. So it was one of the later additions to our schedule. But our schedule, I don't know, if you've looked at the rest of it, but it's really good.
Great. It's great.
It's really good. We've got some teams that, North Carolina Central comes to mind. They won, I think, 26, 28 games last year, NCAA tournament team. We got Winthrop, who I think will be picked to win their league. We're going to play Arizona State, NCAA tournament team. And then have the chance to play their Alabama or Iowa State. I think Iowa State might be picked to win the Big 12. Virginia, obviously, enough said there. And then, like I said, some other games that, there's not a lot of, I don't think, maybe outside there's a few games that we had to play as a part of the CBE that teams' RPIs might be, sub 200, but, you're not going to find a lot of games that are sub 200 RPI on that schedule, and which is great for the fans. I don't think fans want to come and watch us win by 30 too many times.
Well, 30 is not bad.
Unless it's unless it's a team in blue or team that they would love to see us beat by 30. But no, it's a great schedule again. Last year we didn't get enough credit, I don't think, for how tough our non-conference schedule was last year. Especially when you sustain an injury like we did it. But no, it's another good one. I think it'll prove good for us towards the end of the year.
So tell us when practice actually starts and when is Midnight Madness this year?
Yeah, the NCAA changed their rules where there's not really a uniform practice date anymore, and so I'm not exactly sure what day that we're gonna call our first official practice. We can start in once the guys get here. Once school starts next week, we'll get like 2 hours a week with them in small groups. And that'll be skill work, that'll be individual improvement. And then once we get into October, what you're talking about, is when we'll have our, 2-3 hour practices, real deal practices. That'll start in early October. Madness, good question on Madness. I don't have my team calendar here in front of me, but Madness will be in October. I do know that, I think a Friday night towards the middle of October, which I know is always exciting for our players and exciting for the fans. It'll be good for us for recruiting too. But we got a lot to do between, before then. We got a lot of, recruiting to do in September and, like I said, a lot of individual improvement to do with our current guys.
Well, the excitement's there just like it is for football. I mean, I love the fact they got a nice, easy game to open up the Big Ten schedule at Mr. Izzo's home.
Oh, my God, I'm telling you.
That was, like, brutal for your first Big Ten game to be at Michigan State, I have to tell you.
You know how it is. First of all, I don't know, when the last time we had what I would think of as an easy road game, in the league. All of them are tough, but, it's funny, Bruce. I'm out there on the road this summer, and no matter who I'm sitting next to, whether it's Tom Green in Indiana, or an assistant coach at Minnesota that's a friend of mine, or wherever. I'm asking guys. I'm like, hey, tell me one thing that I need to know about the Big Ten. And to a man, it's the home courts. The home courts are unbelievable. There are no nights off in this league. And I think you see, last year, Penn State, beat Ohio State. Supposedly one of the bottom half teams of the league, swept, the top half team of the league. And so that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that no home court is easy. They did send us on the road. 3 of our first 4 are on the road. So we got to, it's going to be a challenge early. It's funny how, Coach Sturgeon and I were at lunch today, and I said, man, I'm trying to figure out, who's got the harder Big Ten schedule, us or our football team. And that football team, holy smokes, you kidding me? Just, and I know they do their scheduling based on those divisions, and to me those divisions don't look quite balanced. But
no, not really.
I'll let the football guys worry about that.
Are you going to be out there on Saturday?
I can't wait for JMU to come to town. And I was talking to the football staff the other day, and I'm like, holy cow! I'm like, is JMU as good as I think they are? Because I know they have a proud program, and it's been good at that level, and they've got some of those transfers and stuff. But man, I love it. I love football, and I know the football team is excited. I know the staff is excited. I'm really glad they're healthy. I know that it's not been something they've had the luxury of having the past 2 years, especially. And so I'm looking forward to it. Should be a great day on Saturday. Hopefully we'll have a great crowd. I expect that we will. We're going to have some recruits on the yard, which will be good for us. No, I'm excited. Hopefully I get to see you guys out there.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, Dustin, thanks a lot for coming on. Really appreciate it. And you're going to it's going to be a great year this year. I can't wait for it to get started. It's certainly football Saturday, and you got some crossover time, which I think is great too, where we got both sports. So it's great for Terp Talk, that's for sure.
I love it. Bruce and Wayne, man, thanks so much for having me on. Hope you guys have a good night. I look forward to seeing you at Bird on Saturday.
You got it, pal. Take care.
All
right, that, of course, is Dustin Clark, assistant coach of the football team, and great guy to have on. We really thank him. Let's head out to our first break. This is Bruce Posner. You're listening to Coons Ford Terp Talk. Before we go, when it comes to cutting the grass, plowing the snow, removing a tree, or anything landscaping, my family always uses Gene Williams of EJW Landscaping. Gene's reliable, his pricing is reasonable, and most of all, Gene really cares about your situation. Call Gene at EJW at 443-570-9042 and let EJW Landscaping take care of all your lawn needs. This is Bruce Posner along with Wayne Binder tonight. We'll be back in a few minutes here on 1300 AM.
This check of traffic being brought to you by the Labor Day sale at Value City Furniture. Situation around the Baltimore Beltway getting a lot better. Still some off and on slowing from 95, making your way up toward Interstate 70. Then again, on the top side, you're off and on slow around Park Heights Avenue, off and on Cleary Parkway. Still got some outer loop delays now on that southwest side, around Southwest Boulevard, down towards the BW Parkway. South of Baltimore, 95, trying to recover from around the ICC up towards Skaggsville Road. Some pretty solid delays there, and expect some slow traffic northbound on 95 as you approach Route 32. It's the Labor Day sale at Value City Furniture. For the first time ever, get free delivery. 48 months, no interest financing. Plus credit cards. You spend $19.99 and up. Value City Furniture, where style comes easy. Financing subject to federal approval. Minimum monthly payment required. See store for details. I'm Mike Franciotti, CBS Sports Radio, 1300.
All News 99.1 is like your light switch. Turn us on and news comes out, no matter what time of the day or day of the week.
on the phone holding right now, waiting for us to come on, is my good buddy Dennis Kalatzis. Dennis, excited about Week 1 for the University of Maryland. Dennis, you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I said, are you excited about Week 1?
Ready to roll.
Yeah, definitely ready to roll. And C.J. Brown and troops, and you see the confidence of Coach Etzel this year.
Yeah, it's through the roof, and he's got a lot to be confident about.
Yeah, all the receivers, and there's a big-time schedule this year that's never been, really, for the University of Maryland.
No question about it, Bruce.
Dennis, tell us about Derek Cox, the guy the Ravens picked up today. Is this guy a definite keeper? I mean, who is he?
Yeah, you know what, Bruce? I meant to look him up today, and I've been so busy at work, I haven't had a chance to.
I don't know much about it, but obviously they added a corner. And who's on the line tomorrow? It just seems like I went through the roster, and you know much more than I do, but we're talking about, what, 1 or 2 positions are out there?
Yeah, not many. You know, the concern is with the defensive backfield, where Darius Webb is back, it looks to be worse than initially thought. You know, back spasms and whatnot, so he may not be ready to go Week 1. They lack depth there, and also the offensive line. They cleared up some room, too. Darius Webb restructured his contract today as well. They've got close to $7 million in cap room. But look for them to pick up, but they're not done yet. I think Ozzy will pick up players as late as August 31st, and I still think they could use an interior lineman because, you know, the starting 5 is pretty solid, but if somebody goes down with an injury, it could be trouble again just like last year.
Yeah, for certain. Right now, are you confident going into the season?
I am. I like the vibe of this team. I like their chemistry. I think they're much more together than in years past. They've had a year to recover from the Super Bowl hangover. I like Coach Harbaugh. You know, I know you're a big fan of Coach Harbaugh as I am. I think Joe Flacco will do well in this offense, and they're going to run the ball for sure. And the defense, you know, you got 6 picks in the top 3 rounds the last few years. I think those guys are playing real well. Excited about the defensive line. You have a solid kicking game, solid special.
Like thinking already into Big Ten play?
If he hears or sees it, he locks it down. You know, he'll let you know. He'll shut it down. He'll address it with the guys or individually. But at the same time, everyone knows that you can't focus on another thing when one thing's right in front of you. And I think JMU is right in front of us, so pretty heavily focused on them.
Offensively, you think you guys are ready after the month of camp and the month of the practices? You think the offense is ready to go?
Yeah, we're really eager to get out there and show what we can do. I think that the biggest thing in terms of our tempo and just getting out there and just executing, we just got to do that on all cylinders, and everything else will take care of itself.
Are you confident? I know it was a lot of talk over there, some about your deep ball. Are you confident going into the game about your deep ball?
Yeah, absolutely. I have all the confidence in the world that I can put the ball up and those receivers will go and get it. We got a lot of playmakers out there, and it's just my job to put it in their hands.
I got a feeling that CJ's going to come out of that first play and go deep. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about can he go deep.
Yes.
All right, it's back on, Wayne.
Yep.
Can he go deep? And apparently it's got to him a little bit. I love if our listeners want to go out to UMTerps.com, I love the way that Matt Bertram and Matt Taylor align the projected starters on offense and defense. I don't know if you saw that, Wayne.
Well, the paperwork looks a lot better. The game notes that they put.
Oh, it's fantastic. In other words, this is almost something you can take to the game if you go.
I do.
And I plan on doing it because he's got a brief description of each player. You have Deion Long and Laverne Jacobs, who, despite the situation, is still nothing's happened yet, right?
Nothing's happened. According to Coach Edsel, he's going to let the legal process play out, so I expect
As he should. Stephon Diggs, of course, Andrew Isaacs at tight end, Michael Dunn at tackles, Silvano Altamirano.
There's a name that just rolls off the tongue.
Sal Conaboy at center, who's nominated for the Remington Award. Andrew Zeller, Ryan Doyle at tackle, Brandon Ross, probably your starter, and Kenneth Goins at fullback, and of course C.J. Brown. It's got some notables there with Caleb and Albert Reed, Tavon Jacobs, Marcus Leak.
And I think one of the other notables that should be on there is Wes Brown, who's also going to get some run at tailback. I think all three tailbacks are going to play. But the talk of the camp has been Tavon Jacobs and the blazing speed that he brings. On top of the blazing speed we already have with Diggs and Long.
Right. It's going to be fun on Saturday. I don't know what the projected attendance is. I know for the rest of the games, what is it, Wayne?
39,000 tickets have been sold. We'll see how many people show up at 3:30 in Bird Stadium.
Well, it's certainly better than the first games of the past few years.
As far as ticket sales, yeah, it's about 10,000 ahead, I'd say.
Right. So maybe they push over 40, 42, 43 would be fantastic.
And if you're coming out, I know we've got another second to do here, but we can go over the changes that Maryland's made about the food and what you're going to see at Bird Stadium, because there's been a lot of upgrades over the summer.
Yeah, with that, all right, let's head out to the second break. We're way behind here because we went so long with Dustin Clark. Before we go, isn't it time for your family to have the services of a financial planner? Call Rob Weissman, a chartered financial consultant. Rob has provided financial planning, investments, and insurance products to the Baltimore community for over 24 years. Rob will provide a free consultation, review your financial positions, and make recommendations. He will monitor your financial plan on an ongoing basis. Call Rob Weissman, 410-653-6260. Rob Weissman is a registered representative of Parkland Securities Company, member FINRA SIPC. This is Bruce Posner. You're listening to Coons 4 Turf Talk on your way to the stadium, maybe, to watch the O's. And we'll be back in a few moments.
Bruce Posner.
All right, back here on segment 3 of Coon Sport Turf Talk, and of course the big game Saturday, 3:30, JMU. If you're not going to go, you can watch it on the Big Ten Network. I'm sure they'll show some replays of it. Scott McBrien will be there. Who's doing the play-by-play?
I don't know.
I got it right
These are
here.
at the top of our notes. They've made some changes to Bird Stadium I think everybody's going to like, including putting up those very small, thin scoreboards at the mezzanine level, which everybody calls the ribbon board. Repainted a lot. You'll see Big Ten flags at the top of the stadium, where it used to say home of the Maryland Terrapins. Also, for people who've been out there a lot, used to have all the All-Americans listed on the mezzanine edge of the upper deck, and that's been replaced. They have great banners up, new flowers, new paint, new food, a giant pretzel stuffed with Maryland backfin crabs supposed to serve 4, new hamburgers, salad options. Even the Maryland Dairy got into the act, so you can go get your Big Ten Rocky Road ice cream there.
Hey, Thursday night, 10 o'clock, you have Rutgers at Washington State.
Wazoo.
Right.
And hey, who's the coach over at Wazoo?
Could it be the Leach?
It could be a Leach.
Right. So we're rooting for Rutgers, our Big Ten affiliate there.
We are. Also tomorrow, Clemson and Georgia get a big tip-off, and somewhere over the weekend, West Virginia and Alabama hook up. So a lot of stuff going on.
West Virginia's in for a major headache. All right. Sorry, Blake, but
yeah.
Major headache. All right, you had a chance. You were at the press conference the other day with Etzel and talking about the defense. Is that what you wanted us to hear?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the defense. The front seven, very highly regarded, and the cornerbacks and safeties not too bad either.
All right, let it rip.
Well, I think the one thing that you want to be able to do is do what you do best. I mean, the one thing, even though we have guys that have played, we're not going to try to do a whole lot of different things with them. We're going to do the things that we think we do well and add any wrinkles that we need to add to enhance what we do. Really, I think that's what it does. It allows you to probably make adjustments quicker. It allows them to communicate better. And again, it's a situation where up front we're going to play a lot of guys. We feel, I mean, you saw the oar there with Darius and Keith, and again, I think they're both starters. That's why there's an oar there. And both of them are going to play, and they're going to play quite a bit. It'll make them better and make us better. And, you know, you'll see Roman, you'll see Spencer in there as well.
Where'd you make that interview? In a boat?
Hey, they moved the press conference actually to the press box on a
But where were you? Like inside of a tin box or something?
Right, yeah. Those are special seats you get in the sardine can. We were actually plugged right into the audio system up there, but it's the first major press conference they've had in the press box high above Bird Stadium. So I'm sure we can work out those tech issues.
Let's talk about JMU a little bit. The Dukes won 5 of 7 games to start the season last year, but finished at 6-6. Dean Marlowe keys the defense for the Dukes. He was a senior preseason free safety. All-CAA team after earning second-team All-CAA honors last season. Daniel Brown, now that name sounds familiar. In 11 games last year, he scored 8 touchdowns and averaged 15.8 yards per reception. He led the Dukes in catches, 42, and receiving yards. Now, who's Daniel Brown? Tell everybody, Wayne.
It's CJ's brother, so you got a brother on brother.
Got to be his baby brother because you couldn't be in college as long as CJ.
Right.
All right.
CJ's made a career out of being in Maryland.
Yeah, a good career.
Hey, also another guy who might not be on the too deep is Daniel Ezagawe, who's a backup corner for Maryland. His brother plays for James Madison as well, so there's 2 brother on brother. And if you keep going down that road, Titus Till, who was a big Maryland recruit a few years ago, along with Jeremiah Wilson, both went to Maryland. They transferred over to James Madison. I believe, is this 9?
9 what?
9 Division I players that transferred in to JMU this year, including a fellow from Georgia Tech. So you're going to see a lot of what was D1 talent rolling on the field for the Dukes. Last time Maryland played James Madison, we needed an overtime field goal by Nick Ferreira to take down the Dukes, or at least at the last second. And what do you think is going to happen out there? Think Maryland's going to roll big?
I think they're going to roll over them. I really do. I think the offense is going to show what they got, and I think they're going to roll over this team. But, you know, it's hard to say that when you've never seen them play. But you just look at their team last year. they do have all these D1 transfers, but they're D1 transfers. I mean, they're transfers into the school. I mean, nobody there, strikes a pose at you that they're fantastic.
No, and the head coach is brand new as well for the 2014 season. It's only the 6th head coach they've had in 42 years. Mickey Matthews, who was there before, is there for 14 years. So we'll see. It'll probably be a whole new look for the James Madison Dukes.
It's funny. I checked, Darian checked who was doing the play-by-play, and the Big Ten Network hired, to me, one of the best play-by-play guys out there. And, of course, he's very familiar around here, and that's Joe Beninati.
Oh, I love Joe.
Yeah, he is great.
Yeah.
He is great.
Well, we watch him about 80 times a year doing the Caps, and then he also does the lacrosse games.
Well, he does a lot of Maryland lacrosse games, does a lot of MLL games, did the Women's Championship game. But Joe Beninati is an extremely knowledgeable guy, and what a great guy to have to do Maryland games in the Big Ten Network. So we're very happy about that, and now I'll definitely record it because it's him and Scott McBrien. So it should be. And our guy Steve Suter is replacing Scott on the radio for the games where Scott does the Big Ten. So cool. Steve Suter is doing radio on the sidelines, and he's always good for a couple laughs. He really is. Yeah. What a great punt returner he was.
He was certainly one of the best. I think what I'm looking for out of the Terps on Saturday is to come out and look like a D1 team on a mission. I don't want to hear anybody overlook this game or any of that stuff. They should be so tired of playing each other that they should be ready to rip into somebody.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I'm anxious to see Will Likely and Shaw Davis and Yannick Ngakoue and Yannick Cujo Virgil.
Yeah, well, you got your Yannicks down.
I said it both right, okay.
Right, even Savon Walker coming in. I'm not sure if Jesse Anybottom is going to play. They're probably going to try and redshirt him, but he was a star for Gilman last year. And then in the defensive backfield, Will Likely is a superstar. And now backing him up is Jeremiah Johnson, who's been a long-time starter for the Terps. So you got some guys that can really play ball on the defensive side.
There's depth there, and, of course, it's a 3-4 pressure defense. That means the linebackers will be coming from whichever angle they want, and I think they'll wreak havoc with JMU. I really do.
I'd certainly hope so. I'd like to get back to those days, if you remember the Phrygian days in the early 2000s, where you'd come out in these games and you'd win 50-something to 7, or 40 and high 40s to 10. I want to have Maryland make an impression. I actually believe that this team is going to go on and do some really good things. The injury bug's probably gone. We got a 6th-year starter. We got 3 solid tailbacks, the best receiving core in the Big Ten. We got to go out there and make some impact. This is our big year to get rolling, and especially with, as we mentioned on the Saturday show, with Ohio State having their quarterback out for the year, we actually have a chance to really do something special to get to 4-0 possibly in the out-of-conference schedule, maybe take Indiana, and then you got Ohio State coming into Berg on October 4th. But I don't want to look ahead. The team doesn't want to look ahead. You got to go out and make an impression starting on Saturday. The next Saturday you're down in Tampa. Then West Virginia comes in here. And
there's no picnic beforehand. You look ahead, you'll be 2-2 or 1-3.
Right.
There is no picnic. You got a road game in Florida, and you come home to West Virginia, and you know they got to be hurting from last year when Maryland humiliated them. It should be interesting in Morgantown when Maryland has to return there next year.
Oh, that's going to be it. We should get out there. You and your 1,000 steps up and down the steps there.
Well, I've been promised by Blake Smith he's not going to let that happen again, the 18,000 steps. But what a great place to watch a game as Maryland will be this year, all right? Just the mere fact you have 39,000 tickets sold for opening day, which means they'll push into the low 40s for JMU is a great sign. I think the rest of the games will be sold out the rest of the year, or virtual sold out.
Sure.
And it's still time to get seats if you need to.
Hey, back on the Wayback Machine, for those of you who remember DJ Adams, who played tailback here under Ralph, he's on the Cowboys roster still at the moment, and thanks to Mason for pointing that out.
Oh, that's great. Tell Mason to check on Will Yateman. I'm curious if he's still around.
R.J. Dill got let go. I'm not sure by whom. He was an offensive tackle for the Terps.
All right, listen, big weekend. Maryland field hockey opens up at playing some kind of tournament, and they're playing UMass on Friday, and I don't know who on Sunday, soccer starts, women's soccer starts.
I think soccer plays Monday night.
Monday night, 7 o'clock.
Against the number 13 ranked, I don't remember whose.
Well, Sasha, it doesn't matter because Maryland's number 2 ranked. And so you got a full weekend of sports out at College Park, and highlighted by the football game, by the football team. And I have to tell you, the talking is over. Let's play some football. I'm tired of talking about all the things that went down. Randy had a relatively good off-season. All right?
Absolutely.
Only this last hiccup, and that's not really over yet. We don't know what happened, and it's too early to judge that. But he's healthy. He's filled. The players believe in him. The whole program's ready to rock. Give me a final score, Wayne.
Maryland 53, JMU 7. I'm going to enjoy my giant pretzel.
All right, I'm going to say Maryland 38, JMU 13, and we'll take either of those scores.
Absolutely.
And this is the first game, and might have a little, we'll broadcast it if we're going to have a little post-game after the game. This is Bruce Posner for Wayne Viner signing off on Coons Ford Terp Talk.
So for those of you still out there on YouTube, hey, thanks for listening this week. You can send in comments. You can go to TerpTalk Radio on Twitter and give us some Twitter traffic. Tell us what we can do better. Thanks for watching.
Spend a whole year getting close to the new Lion